Thank you for watching this video. I'm the CEO and the founder of the ENECHANGE. We're going to talk about the FY22 first quarter financial results. Let me start the presentation with this slide. December last year, we peaked the share price. And at that time, we managed to do the fundraising of 4 billion Japanese yen. However, after that, our share price have been very struggling. Indeed, our actual business progress is going really well. So I really hope this video will give back a confidence to the investors. This is the key message of our first quarter. Tough times bring opportunity. We're gonna show you very fantastic result of our quarter one. This is, we believe, that's our real genuine growth of ENECHANGE. However, we are foreseeing a very tough time ahead of us because of the global energy crisis as of today. Therefore, we decided to downgrade our forecast of our sales this year. Our energy switching business, we call the platform business. Although we are initially saying we're going to invest a lot in advertising this year, but after seeing the Ukraine crisis, we stopped advertising immediately and then changed the strategy to be more defensive mode, making sure securing profitabilities until the global energy price comes down. On the contrary, our EV charging business is going really well. So that's why we still keep the aggressive strategy in investing. So we're going to give you a little bit mixed message about our company status, but I'm still truly believing that ENECHANGE business is fundamentally very strong in the medium to long term. I hope this presentation will give you the better confidence and insights. Let me quickly talk about the company highlight. ENECHANGE is a company that promotes net zero. I just recently read a book, The Speed and Scale, written by John Doerr, a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. And that's a very inspiring book. And he's saying there's a 6 major steps needs to be achieved to decarbonize the world. Number 1 and number 2, decarbonize the grid and electrify transportation, which accounts for roughly 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions. These 2 sectors are the most important sectors, and the sector which ENECHANGE is addressing. ENECHANGE has 3 businesses. The first one, we call the platform business, is energy switching, helping consumers, households, and corporates to find the better energy suppliers. Our original strategy before Russian invasion to Ukraine was maximize sales growth by advertising investments. However, we changed our strategy immediately after seeing that. And then we now changed to secure profitability temporarily. The second business stream is the data business. We are providing energy demand management software services for energy companies. This is a very stable and profitable business, which we will carry on a very steady growth. The last one is the newest and the most promising business in the ENECHANGE is the EV charging business. Since the market of the EV charging in Japan is very early stage as of today, so not much revenue and profit is expected this year. So that's why we want to install the EV charging station as many as possible in Japan, monopolizing the market, dominating the market to become the number 1 EV charging station company in Japan. We went to IPO December 2020. And at that time, we promised to the investor, we're going to carry on the least 30% sales growth and to reach 10 billion JPY sales by 2027. We actually managed to grow over 76% last year. We were planning to do so this year. But as I already told you, the global energy landscape has been dramatically changed. So we need to downgrade the sales forecast this year. However, we are very, very confident our high growth will come back next year onward. So we still hold our long-term target. This is the executive summary of this presentation. Let me go through with some numbers. This is the progress of the first quarter. As you can see, our sales was exceeding 1.1 billion JPY, which is significantly higher than the previous year. And actually, it's against the original forecast of sales target, which is 4.0 billion JPY. Our progress was 28%, which is also higher than the last year progress. So as you can imagine, if we can carry on the second, third, fourth quarter, as we did in the past quarter, we could probably aim to be more like 4.5 billion to nearly 5 billion JPY this year. However, as already mentioned a few times, the Russian invasion to Ukraine completely changed the energy business landscape. So that's why we need to downgrade sales forecast conservatively. So now the sales forecast is changed to 3.4 billion JPY. And against that, the progress is 33%. Please look at the numbers. As you can see, our quarterly sales and recurring revenue have jumped up significantly. It's over 60% YOY growth. Again, as a CEO of the company, I'm truly believing this is the genuine growth rate of the ENECHANGE. We can achieve it, and we have been achieving it. The gross profit has also jumped up, and margin stays very high. As you can see on the right, adjusted operating profit had jumped up 91%. Although our operating profit was slightly negative, but this is because of the massive investment into the EV chargings. As you can see, the platform business and the data business are both profitable. Please be aware that both businesses are not in the stage to maximize the profit. So we try to maximize the investment into these businesses while maintaining the profitabilities. So that's our current strategy. Let's look at the KPIs. The platform business, the number of users and ARPU both hit a record high. Why we hit a record high ARPU this time? Because of the high energy prices. Remember, our recurring revenue is 2% of the customer's energy bills. When the global energy price starts going up, our consumers' energy bill also goes up, which actually increasing our recurring revenue, which is again 2% of the energy bills. So that's why we are kind of benefiting from the higher energy bills as well. Let's look at the data business. Although the number of the customer just stays at the same level as the previous quarter, our ARPU jumped up. So this is simply because we're not really acquiring a new customer this quarter. However, we managed to additionally provide new services to existing customers, which still showing our data business is very solid and profitable business. And the last one is actually the most interesting one, is our new disclosure, our EV charging business progress. When we decided into the EV charging businesses last year, we say that we promised to the investor, we're gonna install the 3,000 charging station in Japan ASAP in the short term. where the 3,000 coming from? This is because some of the major EV charging companies in the United States, they have roughly about the same range of the charging stations. So that's why, okay, once we reach the 3,000 charging stations, we can be equivalent to them. That's why that we set a 3,000 as our first target. But we didn't say when we're gonna reach the 3,000. We just say the short term. And this time, we're gonna promise to the investor by the end of the quarter two next year, we're gonna reach the 3,000 charging stations. So we have 6 quarters. And our first quarter, we exceeded our internal target. So we are more than on track as of today. And as you can see on the right side chart, we start disclosing which part of Japan like we are selling the charging station. I hope we're gonna deliver much more fantastic news next quarter. Lastly, we talk about some of the expenses. In short, our platform business has been aggressively investing into advertising until the end of February. But since then, we changed our strategy to hold. On the contrary, our EV charging business is still in aggressively investing mode. We keep hiring salespeople, software engineers, customer support, marketing, and advertising. This chapter will give you deep understanding of each business. The first part is about our switching businesses. As you can see on the right, ENECHANGE share has been rising, and we finally reached 2%. I think we can carry on gaining more shares in coming quarters. You might realize that the corporate share has been slowing down since last summer. Why? This is because of the high energy price, which started appearing last summer. Since the energy suppliers' margin is thinner for the corporate customers, therefore, the high global energy price will slowing down the customer acquisition for corporate sector. Or the household sector was okay until the end of last year. However, this effect has been appearing in household sector as of today. We don't know the exact number as of today because this is based on the government stats, which usually delay 3-4 months. So we will give you the update next quarter. We also every time talk about our LTV CAC, and then we try to maintain above 3.0. The red part on the left is a advertising investment, which has been jumped up from the last year level. However, we still managed to maintain above 3.0. And as we discussed already, the advertising budget has been stopped after March. So this is just a month we spend in January and in February. Since we have already stopped advertising for the rest of the year, we expect LTV CAC stays higher than 3.0 for the rest of this year. This is a slide we talk about the current energy crisis in Japan. I'm sure for the global investors, it's really hard to know what's going on in the energy sector in Japan. So let me quickly explain. On the left side, this is a JPEG, that's an electricity wholesale market in Japan. We are seeing the current electricity wholesale price in Japan is more than double than the previous years. So all the energy sourcing costs for the electricity company are significantly higher than the normal years. Therefore, as you can see on the right, the top major 54 suppliers, which accounts for nearly over 90% of energy supply in Japan, they all have stopped acquiring new customers, and 4 of them has already withdrawn the businesses. Obviously, for us, this is very hard time, because if no energy company acquiring new customer, what we can do, our job is switching another supplier, which means helping energy supplier to acquire a new customer. But it is nearly impossible for us to operate our businesses. As I said previously, the global energy price rise has started last summer, but it went even worse after March this year because of Russian invasion to Ukraine. So that's why the energy company reacted to the energy crisis in March, then stopped acquiring new customers since then. So that's why ENECHANGE business has been still okay until the end of March. After April and to as of today, we are facing a very hard time. So the most frequently asked question by all the investors is how far away from the recovery of the market. So I illustrated 6 stages to the recovery of the market. So let me quickly go through where we are. So when the global energy crisis happened, what happened in stage 1 is energy companies start reducing the advertising expenses. And after that, if the energy company is still losing money, they stop acquiring new customers, which already have happened. And after that, energy company, if they're still losing money from the existing customer because of the high energy price, and then they can't really pass on to all the costs to the customer, energy companies start withdrawing the businesses or stop renewing the contract of customers, which is now happening in Japan. And what happened after that is some of the customers become refugees. They are asked to cancel energy contract from their existing supplier. No one will give them a better deal, but they need to sign the energy contract. Otherwise, the electricity will be stopped. So many customers coming to ENECHANGE right now as refugees. Hey, we really need to sign energy contract. Please just help us to sign it, even though it is much expensive than their previous contracts. So we are now roughly seeing the stage 3 and 4 as of today. And what happened after that is the energy company is now preparing to raise energy bills significantly, roughly around 50 to 100% higher than the previous contract to regain the profitability of the business. Then, which could be good for us because our ARPU will be increased because of the 2% of our energy bill and 2% of the recurring revenue streams. However, energy company cannot really pass on to all the costs to the customer. They still probably need to absorb some. At the final stage before the recovery, once energy company managed to raise energy bills, that's so much closer to the recovery of the market. Probably by the time of the end of this year or early next year, we expect some energy price goes down. We expect the global energy price has been peaked so far. And the Japanese Prime Minister also say that they will try to restart the nuclear power station as much as they can, which will push down the energy prices in Japan. Then energy company will get back to the profitable level of the operations. Then they will restart acquiring a customer aggressively as they were before, which probably means the recovery of ARPU. Again, the question is, when I think we're gonna get back to we're gonna get to the stage 6, the recovery of the market. I can't guarantee anything as of today, but let's say I expect towards the end of this year or early next year. Maybe safe to say maybe early next year, but not gonna be. I don't personally expect it takes more than a year and a half. Yeah, this crisis started last summer, getting really serious in this March. Then probably within a year, the situation will be sorted. ENECHANGE and myself has been working very closely together with all the politicians and the government to solve this situation ASAP. So what I can say right now is all the parties has been working so hard to fix this issue within a year. That's what I can probably say. This is an example. We can say the tough times bring opportunities for us. The LPO, one of our major clients last year, suddenly decided to withdraw the business in March this year. That was actually a shocking news to us. We didn't even know that. And then they made a very last-minute decision. And then we are at the risk of losing 39,000 customers, which is roughly 10% of our customer. We discussed with the LPO and helping them to smooth exit from the energy retail market. They actually have 140,000 customers. They all need to re-switch to a new supplier from LPO. So we help them, the entire customer, to find a new energy suppliers. As a result, we managed to acquire 45,000 new customers instead of losing 39,000 customers. ENECHANGE, as a leading energy switching platform in Japan, we see this crisis as an opportunity for us to gaining more shares. After seeing the Russian invasion to Ukraine, we immediately stopped our advertising as we knowing it's gonna be a crisis in the energy sector. So we stopped all advertising in March. We initially saying we're gonna invest 1 billion JPY this year for advertising. We have spent 0.2 billion JPY by the end of February, but we stop as of today. And we might gradually restart, but we're gonna reduce nearly 70% budget this year. We initially forecast a negative profit this year from the energy switching because of the aggressive investment into the advertising, but we changed the strategy to secure profitability this year. This is actually a very important point for the investors, and because ENECHANGE can stay profitable under such a crisis of energy industry and not able to operate as we used to be, not acquiring customer at all, but we can stay profitable. Why? Because of the recurring revenue streams, which is 2% of the existing customers' energy bills, which is actually rising because of the energy bills hike. We're gonna give you the contrary example we can see in the UK. We always use the UK market as a lessons for the Japanese market because Japan and UK has a low similarity in the energy market. UK has more than 20 years experiences in the deregulated energy market. When I was doing a PhD at the University of Cambridge in the UK, I learned the ideas and the strategy, what the UK energy switching works. And I implemented it into Japan. But only one thing I made a change from what I learned from the UK to Japan is this recurring business model. The Money Supermarket, the second largest energy switching platform in the UK, just announced their financial result in February, saying their energy switching revenue has been nearly halved last year and zero revenue this year because of the energy crisis started last summer. zero revenue. Why? Because no switching happening. And then money supermarket has been purely rely on the non-recurring revenue, only happens at the time of the switch. If there's no switch happening, money supermarket can't make money at all. If they can't make any revenue, probably they need to make a loss. On the contrary, ENECHANGE, although no switching is happening, we are still profitable because we have the recurring revenue stream. So that's the biggest difference between like UK switching company and the ENECHANGE. And that's actually, I want to say, this is my invention when I started the business in Japan. Okay, let's talk about the data business. In Japan, demand response is getting more important as of today. Why? Because so many thermal power stations has been shut down because of the pressure of the decarbonization. So what's happening right now is approximately 16 nuclear power station equivalent has been shut down, which obviously decrease the supply capacity of the electricity. So what happened in the summer and winter? We don't have enough capacity to supply the energy, electricity to the country. So that's why the government is asking to reduce the consumption at the summer peak and winter peak. How? That's a demand response. We need, as a consumer, to shift the behavior, shift the electricity consumption from the particular peak time of summer and winter. Okay, who is the #1 company in the demand response sector in Japan? This is actually ENECHANGE. ENECHANGE has been the leading software developer of the demand side services in Japan. My PhD theme in Cambridge was actually the demand side management using smart meter data. So I personally very passionate about this field. We give you one example with the Tokyo Gas, which is the largest gas supplier and one of the major electricity supplier in Japan. We worked with Tokyo Gas for last summer and this last winter, and we managed to shift over 1.4 million kilowatt hour consumption using our demand response services. The demand response services will be much more important once the smart meter data will be publicly accessible. It was actually planned to start this spring, but due to the energy crisis, it being postponed to the spring next year. But ENECHANGE are taking a major role of Smart Meter Data Certification Association, and ENECHANGE will utilize smart meter data for demand response services next year. So we expect our data business will start a better growth next year, driven by our demand response services and smart meter data open access. Lastly, let's talk about EV charging business. EV PHEV sales in Japan is nearly reaching 3% of all cars sold in this quarter, which is a record high. Toyota, Nissan, and other major Japanese companies announced to start selling EVs after Q2. So this effect yet to be incorporated on the left side chart. We're expecting the percentage can go over 3%, 4%, 5% towards the end of this year. Let me explain the overview of our hardware and software. ENECHANGE doesn't produce the hardware by itself. So we have a partnership with the leading EV charging hardware manufacturer, Nitto Kogyo Corporation. And our software communicates with their hardware nicely. We have provided various car options, co-branding option, and then fee options. our key strategy of our EV charging business is learning a lesson from the American market. So we take the two best examples from the America. One is a charge point and Blink. So the charge point one, we call the standard plan, is we charge a site host a monthly fee for our software usage and share the revenue with them. On the contrary, the light model, we don't charge a site host, but we take the 100% revenue of the EV chargings. The both option will be equally profitable for us once customers start using more than 30 hours per month. So that's our break-even point for both business models. The 30 hours per month usage, it should not be a high bar to achieve. We might struggle maybe first few months because no one knows it, like there's a charging station suddenly appeared. But once people start knowing, okay, there's a charging station, more people start driving EVs on the road, 30 hours should be easy enough target to achieve. We rather expect much higher number, maybe say 60s and 80s hours per month usage. ENECHANGE is a software company, so we focus on our software development. We provide our EV charging mobile app for EV drivers and our software dashboard for the site host. ENECHANGE has a very rich experiences in software development in the energy sector. So we are very proud and confident in the quality of our products. And we believe the quality of the mobile app and software dashboard is the #1 in Japan. Lastly, let me talk about overseas equivalent companies to our EV charging business. Our EV charging business is categorized as CPO, charge point operator. The leading player is Tesla and ChargePoint. And there's 5 more companies being listed in the major stock exchange market in the EV charging business. And quite surprisingly, all are negative profit. So which clearly showing that EV charging business is still early stage of the development. This is not yet the time to make a lot of profit out of it. We all know EV charging will be a big market in 10 years time. So that's why this is a time to invest in the market, installing charging stations across the countries, then take the market share and just ready to wait when there are enough EVs on the road in the near future. So that's why all the company, although losing money, but they managed to maintain relatively high market cap against their sales. ENECHANGE needs to take the same strategy as other EV CPO companies. As the global player are all aggressively investing into the EV charging business, ENECHANGE needs to be aggressive too. Otherwise, we're going to give a chance for other companies to come into Japan to dominate the market. ENECHANGE can aim to dominate EV charging business in Japan. So we need to stay aggressive for next couple of years. Once we dominate the Japanese market, we potentially expand into the Asian countries. Finally, let me quickly talk about our forecast update. As I already explained to you, unfortunately, considering the latest energy crisis in Japan and the world, we need to downgrade our sales forecast from 4 billion JPY to 3.4 JPY, which is 30% YOY growth from the previous year. We expect that this current market turbulence should be recovered by the end of this year. So we are still very optimistic about the next year. We still believe the energy market crisis won't last forever. And as I explained, we all parties working so hard to fix the energy market crisis So we know the recovery of the energy market will come towards the end of this year or early next year. I'm personally still very confident of our future and 2023. And what I can actually even imagine that in the next year is once the market recovered, we probably needs to pay 30, 45, 50% higher energy bill than before. So the customer will inevitably more price conscious about energy bills. And then maybe energy tariff structure will be slightly more complicated, incorporating some of the risk factor of the global energy prices. In short, there will be higher demand for energy switching platform like us. We can be stronger than ever before once the market recovers in the future. For our investment side, we cut the budget for advertising and we slightly increase our EV charging budget. So that's why we revised our profit forecast from minus 1.5 billion yen to minus 1.0 billion yen. I just give you a little details of a detailed breakdown of the platform, how we need to reduce our sales forecast. This is mainly because of the number of the users. We initially forecasted 35% increase of number of the users this year, but we need to reduce to 5% because no energy company acquiring new customer, so we cannot increase the number of the customers. However, we can say this is very conservative estimate because if we see actually our number of the end of the Q1, we actually have increased 4% already. So means like for the rest of the year, we don't expect nearly zero customer acquisition. On the contrary, we remain ARPU forecast. This is because our ARPU of January to April has been much higher than our forecast, and then May to December will be lower than our forecast. So these two are offsetting each other, and it actually just landed in the middle. So that's why the ARPU will be decreased after May this year. But when we see the yearly number will stay the same level as we forecasted. Thank you for listening to the presentation. This is the first time we publish our presentation. I hope this gives you the better confidence about ENECHANGE.